Once upon a time, there was a planet far, far away, and the planet was called Care, C-A-R-E, the planet of care. And on this planet, all the beings that lived there, animals, birds, insects, and humans, lived from the same philosophy. The philosophy of when we care for self, caring for others, caring for the community, all has equal value because it's one and the same. In the art and living of caring, all is possible. Vitality, love, joy can emerge. And then one day, Rat showed up. Hi, I'm Dr. Guldal, and today we're going to explore the interplay between selfish and self-care and see if we can't bring it right back into alignment, because a long time ago, self-care became selfish, and we're going to fix that today, and we're going to finish telling the story of the planet Care. I really appreciate being here, and once again, it's the wee hours of the morning as I sit here with my coffee, meditating and focusing on what is it that I can offer this week, what is it that I can do to make a difference. And I so appreciate you inviting me in to your homes, your office, your car, wherever it is that I may be hanging out with you. I also want to take this opportunity, if you like what you're hearing, please, like us on Facebook, Are You Awake, Dr. Guldal. Go to areyouawakeshow.com, leave comments, connect at drguldal.com. Please send your emails, comments, questions. I love to do question shows, and I have a few of them that I've been saving up. You've been writing. I so appreciate that. Connect at drguldal.com. It's a great opportunity to connect with me and let me connect with you on a more personal level. And if you really like what you're hearing, go to iTunes or Stitcher and write a review. So appreciate that. I like to know what you're feeling. I want to make sure that I'm giving you what you need. This is really important to me, to be able to be here and share of myself with you. So anything that you can do, reach out, let me know how you're doing, what you're thinking about, and I'll make sure that I hit that topic. So connect at drguldal.com, like me on Facebook, Are You Awake, or Dr. Guldal, and let's communicate, okay? All right, so back to the rat. He shows up. And he comes from the planet Rat Race. You know that one really well. On the planet of Care, it was very interesting because the way people lived was they lived within their own rhythm. They lived within the rhythm of their own bodies. And the mission of this planet, of this kingdom and queendom, as it were, was to make sure that everything had equal value, that caring was the key. And knowing that without self-care, the community, the families, the entire place, the entire planet would suffer. Because when we can't equally value self, nothing else matters as much. Everything loses its equilibrium. But what happened was, when Rat showed up, Rat looked around this planet and everybody was glowing. There was a vitality to their skin, their muscle strength, because automatically when we live in the own rhythm of our body, we have a compassion in caring for others. We have compassion in caring for ourselves. We know what our limits are. We know when it's been too much. We know when we need quiet time. I don't know about you, but if I don't get some quiet, like complete, total quiet away from people, I don't do well. And maybe it's because I'm more empathic. I know people like myself that are more intuitive, more empathic. We're a little bit introverted. And having to step away and have that quiet where everything's just shut down, especially with the phones and, the phone that holds everything, right? Beep, 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 text messages, emails all day. If I don't step away, I start feeling like it's nails on a chalkboard. And on the planet of Care, the beings, the divine beings knew that we had to discover our own place, our own limitations, because other people are completely opposite from me. They need to be around more people to be in that interplay of interpersonal relationship of some form at all times, and that's what nourishes them. But what happens when you have an entire community, an entire planet living within their own rhythm, it all comes into harmony. Because we look around, we see what needs to happen, we have this energy that flows through, this divine universal energy that when we connect to it, we're not using will anymore. This idea of, I have only X amount of energy each day to use, and then when it's used up, think about it. Think about those moments at the end of the day. If you have small children, or if you have a stressful job, or you're taking care of parents, your friends are, really leaning on you, whatever it may be. Think about those times when you just feel used up. How can we prevent that? Well, we can't really prevent life in the way it happens, but we certainly can get to understand our own limitations. But on this planet, when everybody was moving in this beautiful harmony and this dance of joy and self-care and hard work, because it takes a lot of hard work to pull things together, when Rat showed up, Rat looked around and said, wait a minute. There's all this productivity. I can benefit from this. Everybody's taking care of each other, taking care of themselves. Everybody's super happy. But I can make this where I benefit. This entire community is based on the concept of caring, of self-care being the key to other care. And I know the power of word, he says. I know that in the human brain, the way a word resonates becomes reality. Each and every word becomes reality. And we're going to talk a little bit maybe about neurolinguistic programming in a minute. But he knew the power of word. And he started at the very, tiniest places, insidiously starting to put in there that if we're self-caring, we're selfish. Now think about that. If you have an entire community based on caring for others and doing for others, because from that comes self-care, and taking care of self creates more of that, creates warmth and compassion and health and vitality. And insidiously, Rat started throwing in this idea that if we're being self-caring, we're being selfish. That if anybody takes time for their own limits to take care and nourish self, and whatever that may be, from a hot bath to a book to a quiet walk in the woods, that person was being selfish. The absolute worst possible thing you can do on this planet is to be selfish. And he just started planting the seed and planting the seed. And people started doubting. Doubt showed up. Well, wait a minute. Maybe that isn't self-caring. Maybe that's selfish. What do I do? And then they'd start talking about it. And that had never happened before because everyone was on the same page. And now they're talking to each other about it. Well, what is selfish? Oh, that's when you don't care for others. Well, I better not do that. And it really hit some people more than others. And unfortunately, I think that's pretty gender specific. But the women who had, more of this taken care of place that in society is still true, but it's same for men. It's not just a female specific. But selfish became the worst possible thing anyone could be on this planet of care. So as Rat started planting the seed, with that seed came this concept of working harder, moving faster, not thinking of self. And that's how we all landed in the rat race. So here we are, living in the rat race. Okay, this story has been brewing inside of me for a long time. It is going to be a children's book. It's, in the process with lots of illustrations. But think about that. It really is extremely telling because the power of word, the power of a concept can change everything. The last thing we want to do, because culturally, the worst possible thing we can be is selfish. Oh, that person is so selfish. So if we came from this planet of care and we became embedded in the rat race with this worst possible thing of self-care becoming a selfish thing, and now we're very confused inside of ourselves. We don't know the difference. Most of us don't know the difference. And we don't feel like we can take any time to take care of self. And granted, time just runs. We kill time, we watch time, we wait on time. It becomes the way the rat race owns us. It's through time. Can I tell you a secret about myself? My grandmother used to say never, never judge others because it will become who you are. Because I was extremely intuitive when I was younger, I still am, but I had blocked it for years because I would walk around and I would feel everybody's pain. It would take me out. I could see the stories of the anguish of, the abuse and the mourning and the loss and the grief and the illness and all of these things. I somehow landed, into that knowing deep inside of myself of that place of care, that planet of care from which we've all come, that divine place. And I became that. Like, I called myself the queen of self-care. Okay, yes, there's a ton of ego in that. I'm owning it. Let's just go there. The queen of self-care. Everybody can have time for self-care, blah, blah, blah. And, obviously I was a little arrogant about that, because at that time I had the luxury of the time of self-care. And I took care of myself really well. And I obviously judged people that couldn't. Okay, so I'm saying this out loud in a huge public forum. Don't hang me for it. But what happened was my life turned upside down. Lots of things happened at once, which happens in life. And the very first thing I remember looking around and going, okay, I get it. I was judging. I was arrogant. I thought it was this thing this ownership that I had of being the queen of self-care. And that's where this story came from. The humbleness of being kicked on the butt, being thrown down and tossed around, and not having time for the kind of self-care that I thought self-care was. Obviously, if we could all have that time where we go to the gym, walk in the woods, have the hot bath every day, whatever it is that we need, absolutely, we need to create time for that. But sometimes we just can't. So how do we just take a minute? I cannot tell you. I was really humbled, because being in the work that I do and, working in the office, each person, time after time, coming through my doors in pain, because we get sick. We get mentally exhausted. We get adrenal fatigued. We get inflammation. We become physically sick when there's no self-care. And without self-care, it's hard to receive the caring from others. We've talked a little bit about that, and probably always talk about that on this show, about having to receive caring from others. But until we can learn to care for ourselves without feeling selfish and finding a moment to do so, that's the trick, because we always feel selfish. And I'm glad I was humbled that way. I'm glad I was kicked in the butt. Glad I was, tossed around. Because the truth is, it is really difficult to do. More difficult sometimes in our lives than others. So yes, self-care means taking supplements, eating right, having the time to do so. But so many people, men and women alike, just come into my office and look at me with this look of utter frustration and confusion and sadness, despair sometimes of, I'm too tired. I can't get it done, or I can't afford it. I can't afford to eat like that. And, I'm working 2 jobs, or my work is stressful, or I'm the mom of 3 kids and I run the house and I have a full-time job. The list is endless. So it's more a matter of shifting that in the brain, shifting the concept of what does it mean to have a moment. Does it mean getting up 15 minutes earlier? Well, it does. But if we really believe, in some cases it does, if we really believe that we are worthy of that paradigm shift, we can jump out of the rat race, that land of selfish that we've all landed into, and come back home to that place of self-care. It's really a shift that happens in the brain and in the heart. That's the key. So how do we do that when we're adrenal fatigued, or we're in pain, or we have migraines and there's just no time, and we're frustrated and the rat race owns us? Because we become habituated, right? We become so conditioned to living a certain way that we don't know how to get off. Stop the world, I want to get off. Vacations are nice that way. It takes us out, but then we come right back in. How do we break those habits? Again, it has to be on the inside as well as the outside. A great teacher once told me, just do the action and the heart will follow. Or fake it till you make it, if you will. But when everything is so completely overwhelming, the very thought of taking a minute to just breathe feels impossible, nor do we remember to do it. And then in many situations, the people around us have become so accustomed to the way we run for them that when we say no, they put the pressure of selfish on us. Maybe not directly, some do it directly, but also that indirect look, the curve of the eyebrow, the sigh, the turning away, the thing that just rips our heart apart. This actually is one of the most difficult things to change. Sounds simple. We're going to change, selfish back to self-care, back to its home, back to its origin of the heart. We all want it. I can feel the yearning for it in all of you. I know I got kicked. I was like, okay, now I get it. It's not just having the luxury of time or maybe an abundant financial situation that allows that kind of self-care. And for some, we get to do that, the physical self-care. But what about the emotional? Regardless of the kind of luxury of time we have, if we don't have internally the belief that a moment for self, kindness to self, is our birthright, then we can do all the physical self-care in the world, but we still feel selfish inside or not worthy. Think about that, because that whole concept of selfish moves right into not worthy, not good enough, I shouldn't, I can't. Whatever that may be for each and every one of you, and I know, again, the people that I work with each and every day, that's the key. It's that moment inside where the shift comes to a sense of worth of self-care. Meaning what? Meaning changing how I feel about my worth, claiming self in care. Basically, I claim self in care. Okay, so if I'm not well, which is the majority of people over 25, in one way or another, right? I can't believe the amount of young people, it just blows my mind, cannot believe the amount of young people that have so many aches and pains, so much anxiety, headaches, migraines, aches and pains in their joints. The rat race has gotten faster. You know, the high-tech world has put more pressure on us. We're expected to always be on. For me, the simplest act of self-care became turning the phone off. Okay, now I know that throws most people into a panic, but when did we become a world that just because I have a smartphone and people know that maybe the email or the text message has reached me, when did we become a world that I have to stop everything and respond? Think about that. It's on my phone. I might be in a meeting. I might be eating. I might be sharing time with a loved one. I might be needing to get a paper out or, a document, whatever. And the phone beeps, and it's amazing to me how many people within a few minutes will say, didn't you get my message? Think about that. Think about how we are on all the time. Our adrenals have a really hard time with that. I personally find that a little offensive. I will respond if it's urgent. And think, young people, they come to me and they're up all night on their phones because their friends are in need. They're not getting any sleep. They're on all the time. If they don't respond, the other people get mad. We create that because we respond. I'm not saying don't if you want to, but we get to choose. And when we're not in self-care, choice is taken away as well. So the smallest of thing can be, I'm going to respond to that message when it's right for me, when it resonates in me. So mostly what I'm talking about here today, it's, the yin and the yang of the same thing. Claiming self in care. Knowing that if I do the smallest of thing that's kind and compassionate towards self, it changes my brain programming and it can change my physical conditioning and how I do my day. That's simple. And with that comes claiming the act of choice. Easier said than done for many people that are raised to be caregivers. Those that were, that person in their family who everyone turned to, who became the one that ran for everybody. You might be that person yourself, those of you listening. Clearly I'm that person because it's all I do all day. Now I'm learning that balance. I'm learning it with you. As I'm speaking this, I'm hearing places that I need to make that change as well. So, simple things. What can you do? Set the timer on your phone. The phone. Set the timer on the kitchen clock. I don't know, an egg timer. Do they even have egg timers anymore? I don't know. But set the timer. Start with twice a day. And just breathe. Breathe in, breathe out 3 times. In that moment, you're claiming the reminder that self exists. Self might need a full breath. Find your feet. It's actually that simple. I'm not saying get up an hour early and go to the gym and go 5 times a week, because those things that we want to do, if we're not doing them, they're overwhelming. And the bottom line is, in the land of selfish, we will break a promise to ourselves faster than we would ever break to another. How many times have you promised yourself something? I don't know. I do it. It blows my mind. I break promises to myself like, don't I care? Don't I matter? If I'm going to meet somebody at 6 a.m., I'm up, I'm out the door, I'm ready, I'm at that place at 6 a.m. But if I tell myself I'm going to be at the gym at 6 and nobody's waiting for me, I'm probably not going, because self says stay in bed, it's okay, break your promise. The thing is, then when I get up, I don't know, 7:30, and I have not gone to the gym, but most importantly, I've broken the promise to myself, I feel bad. I feel bad. I feel not as worthy. I reinforce that place where selfish can grow. I reinforce that place where selfish can ferment. You see how that works? So the simple act of just doing something for 30 seconds can start to change that programming within us. Now here's something funny. We don't do it. We know all the things to do. My God, we're inundated with all the things to do. A simple thing like a multivitamin. I'm not saying you need to come see me or a naturopath or a homeopath. And when you can go, if you can go to a health food store and get some help, absolutely. You know, and I will have shows about supplements and food and diet and all of that. But right now, we're just talking about the conceptual piece today that feels really important in my heart. We don't do it. So in order to set up success, we have to start really small. It's okay. Like, let's say your household's crazy. There's a ton of kids and you're working and you're exhausted. It's okay. Go to the bathroom, lock the door, turn the water on, pretend you're in there for something else, and just stop. You wouldn't believe what a difference that can make to your entire physical health. Your adrenal glands will take a moment, but your mental health, just that shift, and I need a moment, if that's what you need. If you need to take a moment to reach out to somebody or whatever it may be. Another thing that you can do is rub the bottoms of your feet every night before bed. Okay, that seems like outrageously huge, I know. But if you take ghee, anything will work. But if you happen to have organic clarified butter, if you have any ghee in your home, ghee or coconut oil, the most natural forms of oil and fat in your system that are extremely healthy. If you rub the bottoms of your feet really, really well, you've basically given yourself an acupuncture treatment. You've opened up all the meridians. You've opened up your channels. The bottoms of our feet, they just love that. It can take 2 or 3 minutes. It can be a bedtime ritual, even if you're dead tired. And if you have a partner that likes to rub feet, rub each other's feet. Take the coconut oil or the ghee. You don't have to have those, but those are my recommendations. Or, an essential oil, like lavender would be wonderful for this. Lavender is awesome for this. Not citrus, that's more awakening, but you want something like lavender, something quieting. Frankincense is great. Myrtle is also a wonderful thing to rub your feet with. And if you rub your feet or each other's feet, which is connecting, loving, but we're talking about self-care, so if you can do for self, again, you open all the channels, work the meridian, soothed yourself, quieted your body, reset your adrenals, and sent the message to your brain, body, soul that, okay, it's okay. Self-care is part of my life. These are very simple techniques. And as I'm sitting here and channeling this one, I just got that we'll do a part 2 to this at some point to give more specific, level 2. We'll do a little graduation and we'll do level 2. But the first 2 things, most important of all, figure out what you can do for 30 to 60 seconds that works for you, that resonates in your body. And when I say resonate, I mean what makes your body breathe. What makes your body relax? That's a resonance. That means it's good. That's a sign. It's a signal. Your brain, body, heart, and soul are telling you this is good. So find what that is. Set your timer. Do it twice a day, 30 to 60 seconds. Breathing is a great thing to do. Breathe in deeply through your nostrils, out through your mouth 3 times. It takes 30 seconds. That resets the nervous system. So again, you're double dipping. You're sending the message to your brain body that self-care exists. Self-care is real, which changes everything. And it's helping your physical health by resetting your autonomic nervous system into a parasympathetic response. It immediately takes away anxiety because anxiety can't live there. It immediately opens your heart, relaxes your adrenal glands, releases your gut. Go ahead and do it right now and notice how your gut, because we hold our pelvis, we hold our stomach muscles tight, which increases all of these stomach issues and inflammatory issues. So go ahead and just take a moment. Breathe in, hold it, out. Notice the stomach relaxed, the pelvis relaxed. Just for a second there, things got better. These are the things that we're going to start with today. I thank you for coming and joining me on the planet of care. Let's create that planet of care first within the system, within ourselves. Let's kick out Mr. Rat, get off the rat race as best as we can, even if it's a minute every day. And just stay with me now. We're going to do a simple little exercise, an awareness activation exercise to keep that stomach muscle relaxed, keep the adrenals quiet, and implant the message of self-care into your midbrain, into your limbic system, where it will take hold and start creating more and more of that. Okay. Deep breath. And out. Now we've already done that if you've noticed that when the digital energy, the transmission comes through my voice and through these waves on the internet, you're already going to feel a shift in your brain. So find that spot in your brain, in your heart, in your stomach that you've already felt the work happening. Because that is part of what I get to do. I get to keep working on you through the conversation. There you go. Find that space. There you go. All of you. Most of you have it. Okay. Go there. Now put a blue light there. Feel that blue light coming through my voice, through my heart to yours. And notice how soothing that blue light is. Now just expand that light, because we've already implanted self-care into you today. You've received it, you've wanted it, you've accepted it. It's yours. It was already in you. We were all born with this. It's a divine gift that we're all born with. And put that blue light right there. And in this moment, you are in that sacred space. You're in the walking and talking sacred space. In the core of the circle of life within you. But only through the caring of self, the caring of the divinity, the claiming of the worth within you. Health, vitality, joy. Feel that blue, warm and wonderful. As it moves from that spot or spots, some of you have more than one. Let it move through your whole body. And feel the top of your head open. And feel that connection. When you have time, do this exercise, listen to it, memorize it, learn it. Do this whenever you can. We're changing the cells, creating new. And I invite you to hang out here for a moment with your crown open and the blue light resonating within and without, throughout you. Keep your crown open, your heart open, and just listen for what's next. You will be guided, we always are. Walk sacred. Till next time.